Welcome to Visionaries Global Media, your number one source for podcasting entertainment. Visionaries Global Media, envisioning excellence on a global scale.
This is Banned from Ringside.
Tonight on the Banned from Ringside podcast, Vince McMahon makes not one but two appearances on WWE television. We have AEW ramping up the Forbidden Door and our Forbidden Door predictions. Brock Lesnar makes his return. The G1 blocks get announced. That and a whole bunch more tonight on the Banned from Ringside podcast. You can't already start rolling your eyes, dude.
You better get that heating up button ready to go.
Oh, he's hot. He's hot already.
He's hot already.
Ditch that 9 to 5. It's time to feel alive. Hello, Mark. So welcome to the Banned from Ringside podcast. As always, I'm your host, Bill Vagey, a.k.a. Heel Street Blues. And sitting to my left, that really dates us. If you know what Hill Street Blues is, you are old. Sitting to my left, as always, we have Jason Cornelius Bell. What's going on, JCB?
Shit, I was about to say Hill Street Blues. My mom watched that shit. She made me watch it. That was a
good.
really fucking good show. If you didn't see it, take your ass, go into the archives, check that shit out. But before you do that, I'm going to ask you to bow your heads as I read from the latest edition of the Banned from Ringside podcast, volume 262, chapter 3, verse 14. And the good smart saith, hashtag boo the heels. It's all good, baby. Listen, share, subscribe, repeat. The Holy Trinity of BFR. Yeah, I'm rolling my eyes about Vince. Yeah, I'm rolling my eyes about Brock. I can't wait to get in that ass. Cannot wait. Obviously, Forbidden Door coming up, too. We're going to talk about that and a whole bunch more.
And out there in Portland, Oregon, we have making his triumphant return. Two Beer, Zach Bowman. What's going on, Two Beer?
BFR West is in the house.
Yeah, I can't wait to get in that ass. I can't wait to get in that Forbidden Door. I think that's what Vince said to that secretary paralegal. But
you just got a spit take out of Jason.
Really sad to miss last week. I was injured just like every fucking wrestler in AEW.
No shit.
That's right. Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff to get to this week. One of these days, like I always say, one of these days we're going to have a slow week. It is not a slow week.
This ain't that week.
There has been, it has been kind of a forbidden build to the Forbidden Door. There is a bunch of stuff to get to, just too much stuff to get to. We are coming at you from beautiful St. Charles, Missouri. It is nice outside. We're on my back porch. Unfortunately, my poor baby, little Edna Guerrero, she is 10 months old and she is sick. She has a virus, and I'm trying not to be the typical first-time dad where I see a sick baby and I feel like taking her to the ER every time she coughs and shit like that. But she did have a pretty high fever. Took her to the pediatrician today. Pediatrician set my mind at ease, but yeah, it's been a harrowing day. Zach, do you have any dad advice for me with my first sick baby?
Man, it is. That's always rough. Just the anxiety, because there's this like helpless feeling where you just want to take on the sickness, where like you just wish that there was a way that you could just relieve them and then like take on that burden. And yeah, It is rough, but yeah, as you get through it, babies are like super resilient, you know, except for the dead ones, but they're like usually alive with super resilient.
He's back.
Let's get to that 3 count.
Good Lord. Jesus Christ.
He really knows how to get me. Jason, what's the 1 count?
Let me get this laugh in because this is going to be the last laugh you're going to hear for about 5 or 10 minutes. We're going to talk about things WWE, and obviously we had a couple returns this week, one of Brock Lesnar, but the first one I want to talk about is obviously Vincent Kennedy McMahon. As you heard last week, we were trying to speculate what could be of Vincent Kennedy McMahon, what the future lies, and then, of course, WWE waits until we are done recording to drop the hammer on Vincent Kennedy McMahon. I won't say they dropped the hammer. Reports are obviously that he stepped down as CEO of WWE. Stephanie McMahon apparently takes his place. So, okay, I'm like, all right, no big deal. You know, this is probably something that should be done for financial reasons. You know, if you're a stockholder in WWE, you probably want to have Vince step aside and have someone come in that will have the confidence of shareholders, stockholders, whatever you want to call them, yada, yada, yada. Then around 2:30, 3 o'clock on Friday, I read on Twitter that Vince is going to be on SmackDown. And I said to myself, what in the fuck would you come on SmackDown for after you step down as the CEO of WWE? But then I thought to myself, wait, this is Vince McMahon. This is classic Vince McMahon. Why would I think he would do anything but
Carney to the end. Never miss a chance to pop a rating.
And pop the rating. I was like, okay. And I tweeted that day. I was like, look, I don't know what Vince is going to come out and say, and I don't really care. At this point, he just needs to go somewhere and sit down and shut the fuck up before he says something stupid. See Deshaun Watson's lawyer. That being said, he comes out, and I can honestly say the crowd reaction flabbergasted me, for lack of a better term. It was like watching the returning hero come home. People bowing, everybody's cheering. I mean, maybe it's piped in or whatever, and I'll give you that if you want to say they piped in some noise. But when you see people smiling, like I said, bowing like, he's still the god of professional wrestling, that disgusts the shit out of me. Really? This is what you motherfuckers are going to do? When you have the I'm not saying that they should have booed him, but I'm saying in just, not even decency, but just look at the story, okay? It's not a good fucking look. The last thing he should be doing is coming out on TV, number one. The last thing that people with children, daughters, should be clapping. And like, oh, Vince is back. Fuck Vince McMahon, okay? That motherfucker should have never came out on TV. He comes out and, like, gets a little rally around, then and now, together forever. Man, fuck that shit. Okay? Sit your little wrinkled prune face ass in the corner and shut the fuck up for a little bit. Let the grown folks try to get your ass out of this shit again.
Zach, you were gone last week when we were speculating about it, and we, like Jason said, we didn't even, from the time that we finished recording to the time that the podcast was up, basically all my predictions had been completely disproven.
Right. Mine too.
Zach, what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, nothing surprises me after, the Trump presidency. But, yeah, I mean, those people were clapping harder than John Laurinaitis clapped them cheeks, man.
Mm-mm.
They were just loving Vince, loving him. But, I mean, they did the same thing if Trump came out. A bunch of fucking idiots, really. It was not surprising, but, built that total carny to the end. Overall, thinking about the whole investigation and stuff, Vince is, mega rich. He's going to get away with, whatever. But he might be forced out of, a leadership position on, the board, just by the board. I think the main kind of crux reading about it is that the raise that this woman was allegedly given just after she started a sexual relationship with Vince, because that is company money and that's publicly traded company. If he gave her $3 million of his own money to not talk about it, I mean, I guess that's his prerogative and her prerogative for taking it. I think if I was a woman that had sex with Vince McMahon and $3 million was my rate, that's my rate, and you got to give me $1 million, and then in a couple more years give me that other $2 million, I'm asking. I'm putting up, asking for some money.
Yeah,
so that's my thought.
So, couple things here, and I'll just say this just to get it out of the way. The investigation is not into that there was any kind of sexual assault. The investigation is into the payoffs and whether he violated some kind of law, and certainly to the board, to the corporate board, whether or not he is fit to still be chairman and CEO of WWE. That part is
and they don't even care about any sexual assault or anything, whether there was. They care about the stock price because the board is beholden to the stockholders, and they only want that stock price to be high. That's all they give a shit about. So but it is a legitimate investigation. It's not like the board is inspecting the board or the Uvalde police or, we investigated and the Uvalde police,
Right. I just wanted to say that to get that out of the way. The part that's interesting to me, or the part that's notable or conversation worthy to me, is that he's still in creative control. Right. I mean, as the mark,
right,
as the viewer, as the audience, nothing has changed for
at
us.
All.
So this is just
no, and Stephanie's really just probably a puppet. You think Stephanie's just like going to go against like his wishes? Like he's just going to be like, "Hey, I want you to do this," and Stephanie's going to be like, "Yeah, we'll just do that." Like,
no, probably not.
Team player.
As for the appearances, I mean, it's just kind of it's him going out there being like, it's him saying without saying, "Hey,
fuck you. I'm
not going anywhere. I'm still here," which really just almost makes me feel like, oh God, this is just a sad old man, dude. He's hanging on till the bitter end. There's not that much more to say about this, I think. I mean, I did watch SmackDown when it happened. That Together thing wasn't on there. They added that on there for that night, right? Or has it always been? He
said then, now, together, forever.
But the signature at the beginning of the show
right.
still says together. And it's like, wait a minute, I'm not together with you. No. I mean.
You on your own on this one, dog.
I just don't care. I mean, I hope he burns. I think it'd be fucking hilarious.
No, it's not even that. It's just, it's.
Oh, it's that for me.
To me, it's the arrogance of it all. It's basically, you know what? I've stepped down from CEO of WWE, but I'm going to still be Vince fucking McMahon. And I'm going to come out when I want to come out. You're going to cheer when you're supposed to cheer like little fucking puppets. He came out twice.
Well, that's the other thing I wanted to say is that, like, those people cheering, and I'm going to say this without trying to sound condescending, but most WWE fans and most people that go to the shows, and you've been to the shows, we're a minority in the live crowd at a WWE event. It's a lot of parents, it's a lot of kids, it's a lot of parents that probably aren't on Twitter, that might not know anything about the lawsuit. Like the Raw show was in Nebraska.
Right.
Like, nothing against Nebraska because I live in fucking Missouri, but
yeah, no shit.
It's not like people that live in Lincoln are really that tuned in to what's going on the corporate side of WWE. They just hear Vince's music. They were probably confused at him coming out. They probably were like, "Oh, the show probably hasn't started yet. Wait a minute, 7:03? Wait, it definitely has started." So I kind of give some of the people I give most of the crowd a pass because they probably got off work at 4:30, went home, grabbed their kids, and went straight to the venue and ate a $13 hot dog for dinner when they got there. So I'll give them a little bit there's a little bit of grace that I'll give those people, Jason.
You can give them that grace if you choose. I'm not going to do that. I'm sorry. I just refuse, especially Nebraska on Raw. That's 3 days after the fact. And you guys were just jumping up, happy to see Vince. Fuck that shit. You motherfuckers need to get motherfucking dealt with too. If you want to talk about on Friday night, I'm sorry. I still think there's enough time to where you know how shit happens in the crowd. There can be just you can hear somebody say behind you, next to you, "Oh, I heard Vince is coming out." And you're like, "What? Vince is coming out? No way." And then
he's still a big time celebrity.
I'm not disagreeing with that, Bill.
That they like to see.
Dude, I'm sorry. If O.J. Simpson walked in the door, I'm not going to give him a big ass hug.
O.J. Simpson, that was 26 years ago.
I don't give a rat's ass.
Okay, well, all right.
Okay.
So since you said that I'm a minority, do I get to use the hard R now?
Yes, you do. Absolutely. Feels good being a minority, man. Feels good taking it to the other people.
Welcome to my world. I'm sorry. I don't give anybody a pass. If you want to cheer Vince McMahon, that's on you. That just shows more about you than it does anything else.
All right, so let's get to the funner stuff. Let's get to the wrestling.
Inside the ring, obviously, we had the main event on SmackDown being Riddle versus Roman Reigns for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship. If Riddle lost, Riddle could not challenge for the WWE Championship again as long as Roman Reigns was the champion. Okay. I like this match. I think it reaffirms what I've kind of thought about Riddle as of late. I didn't like his gimmick beforehand. They paired him with Randy Orton, and it sent him into another stratosphere realm, whatever you want to call it, to the point where now you can start to look at Riddle as someone that could be in the main event a year, 2 years down the line. Obviously, this will all depend on what Roman does in that same time frame. Neither here nor there. I thought the match was good. The finish was fine.
It's just fun seeing Roman Reigns fight anybody except for Brock Lesnar.
And there we go. Roman Reigns basically is getting ready to bid us all adieu. There's no one left. I couldn't disagree with him. I couldn't agree with him any more than that. And then Brock's music hits. What? Nah, it wasn't even what. I rolled my eyes. I wish there was a camera on me when it happened, because I literally rolled my eyes. Come on, guys. This is the third time, okay? The great part about Okada and Naito, just on a side note, because it's kind of the same thing, but not really, they've wrestled 3 times too. The great part about having Naito and Okada not wrestle is when they do wrestle, it feels special. It feels like it's a must-see moment, okay? This ain't the same thing with Brock and Roman Reigns. They've wrestled 5 times since.
I mean, Okada and Naito can also, they're capable of putting together a different type of match every time. They can, and just callbacks. I mean, there is no callback when all you do is suplexes, F5s, Superman punches, and spears.
The last 2 matches that they had were less than 15 minutes. Less than 15 minutes. So you Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar.
Have they ever had a match more than 15 minutes?
If you want to count the
WrestleMania match,
the triple threat where
Rollins
cashes in. I didn't look at the time, but
that was WrestleMania. I mean, okay, there's no way they've fought another match that was over 15 minutes.
If you want to go check it out, cagematch.net, great place to go for all your database needs for wrestling. That being said, I guess here's my point. I don't want to see this shit. Okay? You got plenty of other motherfuckers on this roster that can come in and easily take the L.
Couldn't agree more. Just do not want to see it. Just, you could put anybody else.
After WrestleMania, I was done. The finish was to the point where I'm like, okay, this doesn't even, A, make sense, and now, B, it's one of those finishes where I'm wondering if this is kayfabe or not. That doesn't work for me. You have built this match up to be the greatest thing since sliced running bread, and now this is how you finish this shit? You couldn't even have a definitive fucking winner on the grand stage of the WrestleMania with the 2 biggest stars with the undisputed title on the line, and you couldn't do that right. Fuck Brock Lesnar. I don't even want to say fuck Roman Reigns, but right now, he is pissing me off to the point where I don't even care who wins this fucking match at SummerSlam. Last man standing. Like we ain't seen that shit before.
Is that what it is?
It's a last man standing match.
Oh, God. Zach, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I felt like Hulk Hogan getting pitched doing a job when I saw that graphic on Twitter. It was just a stare down between Brock and Roman. I was like, that's not going to work for me, brother.
I mean, when everything that I could say about it, I feel like I said on Friends of BFR, but I'll say it again for the listening audience. Zach posted it, and I said, is that from SmackDown? I couldn't believe it. I just could not believe it. Because how many conversations have we had, and obviously this is our fault, how many conversations have we had, who could be next for Roman Reigns? Who's going to take the title off of Roman Reigns? If this is just a ploy to take one of the titles off of Roman Reigns and they figure out a way to do it, then you never should have done it in the first place, except you wanted that visual of the Usos and Roman Reigns, everybody walking down, 3 guys, 6 belts. Fine. Whatever. But why are we going through this again? And is this really, please, somebody convict Vince McMahon of something so that he just has to sneak notes out from prison so he can just book Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns. I mean, what are we doing? Guys, it's so frustrating. I don't even feel like talking about it anymore. But
Good. I'll talk about this shit.
Go
Fuck
ahead.
it. Yeah,
I'm gonna go check on my baby.
I will be more than happy to run this shit down some more. So Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar stare down, and Brock Lesnar puts his hand out to shake Roman Reigns' hand. Please, on sight, Roman Reigns and the Bloodline should be trying to jump this motherfucker on principle alone. You cannot come out and fuck with the tribal chief. So now he puts his hand out to Roman Reigns to shake hands, and Roman Reigns looking at the crowd like, "What should I do?" What you mean? What you should do? Come on, man. This is not even brain science, okay? This is not hard. You should be trying to stomp a mud hole in Brock Lesnar's ass. You have the numbers advantage. He is your biggest common enemy amongst anybody else on the goddamn roster, and he shakes his hand. Dude, I was so motherfucking mad. I'm like, dude, this is the dumbest shit ever. You're supposed to be a step, 2 steps ahead of everybody else. You got the wise man Paul Heyman in your corner. You got the Usos out there ready to make a move, and you want to shake this motherfucker's hand. Dude, I was so motherfucking mad. I can't even believe this shit. This is the shit I'm talking about. Roman Reigns has been so good up until the point when they put the 2 titles on him. And then they were like, okay, now what? What you mean now what? You should have been having this already figured out. Who would have been next after Roman Reigns? Brock Lesnar comes out. I'm a firm believer in this, and I'll take this to the grave. Brock Lesnar came out to take more heat off of Vince McMahon. Okay, Vince steps down from WWE CEO. What can we do to take the onus off of Vince McMahon and put it back on the product? You do what you normally do. You call up your flavor of the month veteran wrestler. In this case, it's Brock Lesnar. You go one more time, Brock versus Roman Reigns. Come on now. You can't sit here and tell me this shit is fresh, new, whatever. I don't even care. Like I said, I don't even care who wins this match. All right? This is an indictment on the booking process, number one, and more so an indictment on the wrestlers, number 2, on the WWE roster. And it's not a knock against them. It's how Vince looks at them. Nobody is big enough to take on Roman Reigns. I'm sorry, Bobby Lashley's been calling Roman Reigns out for like 2 weeks, and all of a sudden you're going to pivot him to the U.S. title? Get the fuck up out of here. Bobby Lashley is perfect, especially if you're going to keep him as a babyface. I'm not expecting Bobby Lashley to beat Roman Reigns. I'm not expecting AJ Styles to beat Roman Reigns. I'm not expecting Edge to beat Roman Reigns. I'm just asking for some fucking originality for fucking once, okay? Stop going back to Brock Lesnar. Stop asking Rock to come back. Stop bringing Austin to come back. Oh, and I know everybody's like, oh my God, he said Austin. Yeah, I said Austin too, okay? At a certain point, you're going to have to let these other guys, the normal, regular roster guys, fucking take control of the mantle and try to run this WWE ship. You can't keep bringing Brock Lesnar back at some point because he's going to get old, okay? And at some point, he's not going to be able to do the things he did 10 or 15 years ago.
Since I left to go check on the baby and grab a beer, has Zach said anything?
Nope.
Okay. Zach, do you have anything else to say about this?
Jason said it all.
Okay. Is there anything else WWE?
Very eloquently.
Anything else? Anything else WWE related that we want to talk about here?
Sasha Banks supposedly was released weeks ago. That's the latest rumor. Nothing confirmed or denied by WWE. Not denying it to me says a lot.
Rhea Ripley is yeah, that's a big deal. I do want to wait.
No, Rhea Ripley being hurt.
I want to wait for something official with Sasha Banks because I really feel like it's all speculation. Rhea Ripley being out of Money in the Bank sucks because I was looking forward to Rhea Ripley versus Sasha Banks. She has been replaced with Carmella.
That was wrong, black girl. Bianca Bel Air.
Oh, Bianca Bel Air. Sorry. She's been replaced by Carmella, so it's Carmella versus Bianca Bel Air, which I think is it's a fine replacement for a placeholder match. We're not going to take the belt off of Bianca Belair. We could have told a story with Rhea Ripley. Now it's just going to be a showcase for Bianca Belair. Any thoughts on that, Zach?
Yeah, it actually, even though I'd much rather see Rhea versus Bianca, it actually might be better just because, we knew that Rhea wasn't going to take that title off of Bianca. So maybe Rhea can come back with some renewed energy. Bianca can roll through a couple more opponents, and then Rhea gets her shot, and it seems like a possibility, you know?
Yep. Anything else WWE?
I think I've defecated on them enough for a minute.
I like the Elias Ezekiel thing. I think it's kind of funny.
Okay, see, you just couldn't just go on, could you?
I hope Kevin Owens is done with this after this, but it's kind of funny as a low mid card.
No
type of thing.
Don't even go mid.
I actually did watch that skit. I liked it.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Jason's
very entertaining.
Yeah, don't you like to be entertained?
I do. Will you show me something entertaining, and hopefully I get a smile on my face, maybe laugh about this. That was horrible.
Let's get to that 2 count.
Thank you. God damn.
2, 3.
2 beer. What's the 2 count? I don't know if you're still driving, but I can prompt you. Go ahead and ask me to prompt you if you don't remember what's next. But what's the 2 count?
No, I'm back. So 2 count, AEW Dynamite. I guess we could talk Rampage, but I was out of town. I did not see it, so I don't know if anything super of note happened on Rampage.
Moxley versus Martin was pretty good.
Yeah, I thought that was really good, actually.
Yeah.
All bullshit aside. Dante Martin, once again, is stepping more and more away from the tag team circles into the singles foray. Darius better hurry up and get back again. That's all I'm going to say on that. Dante Martin is just amazing at 21 years old. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, but nothing really noteworthy or newsworthy on Rampage.
Right on. That makes sense. So yeah, we opened with Bryan Danielson, and got quite a lot to say about this, actually. So
let's have it, man. You got 2 weeks built up.
Everybody step back.
So,
Shoot some ropes.
Everybody step back.
So, they announced that Bryan Danielson will be talking Blood and Guts and talking Forbidden Door. And we know that he's been on the shelf for a minute, and he's been injured. And, I'm like, oh, cool. Like, they'd already teased the ZSJ match. I'm like, we're going to get the announcement. And then we get the exact opposite of that. We get, I am not cleared, not medically cleared. So another huge blow to a already kind of lackluster pay-per-view build and kind of a bummer experience. I know that they were kind of working with what they got, but there's kind of a lot to unpack with this. So, Danielson says he's not cleared, but he will be back. He's not worried about him, and he'll come back and he'll kick some heads in and so on and so forth. And he says he has someone lined up for Zack Sabre Jr. But he came out of the bad guy tunnel, came out of the heel tunnel, so he's not going to tell. And that really kind of took the wind out of the sails of the promo, took the wind out of the sails of the audience, took the wind out of my sails, because, dude, we're 5 days away. And I know that they don't plan on announcing it. It's just going to be a surprise. But guess what? This thing is $50. Like, it's not like a loot box. It's not a lottery ticket. It's just a pay-per-view. Like, tell me what's going to be on the thing so I can decide whether or not to spend $50. Because you know what? My money doesn't go as far as it did 6 months ago. Everything's more expensive, and our planet is on fire. So please give me a reason to escape for 4.5 hours. Don't tell me there's going to be a surprise. I'm not fucking 5 years old, all right? So did not like that. I know it's not his decision. And then the second thing I didn't like about this is they have Zack Sabre Jr., I don't know, one of the greatest promos in current wrestling today, come out without a bike and just start jabbering at the camera, and then that's all that we see of him. Like, maybe the greatest technical wrestler on the planet, hence the whole build with Bryan Danielson. Maybe one of the best promos currently going today. Definitely like 1 and 1A in New Japan. Baffling. You don't give this guy a mic. You got to build this show.
I'm going to go next because something that Zach said just kind of pissed me off. And basically everything Zach said just pissed me off because I agree with it 1,000%. And it all really pisses me off. Why can't they just announce this card? What is so hard about just announcing this card? Why do they have to be so cute with this shit? Announce some matches and build them. Show some fucking video packages of these guys from Japan. Because I'll tell you what, and we'll get to it later, Okada coming out and beating up Jay White, and listen, that's not Okada's bag. He doesn't do week-to-week television like this, like Dynamite and Raw. This is American shit that if anybody was watching being like, I hear about Okada, and then Okada comes out and just does the same shit that everybody does all the time, which is just clear a couple guys from the ring, and half the audience doesn't know who Okada is, then you failed. But going back specifically to this segment, don't give me a surprise. Tell me that it's going to be Claudio, a.k.a. Cesaro. Tell me it's going to be him if it's going to be him, because then I have 5 days to fucking look forward to the match. What is the point of surprising us? It's a pay-per-view. It's not he's going to be out on the next Dynamite. Tune in. Let me know who it's going to be. Secondly, as a Zack Sabre Jr. mark, or a ZSJ mark, as I like to call myself, why would you not have him cut a promo? The guy can cut. He would have eviscerated Bryan Danielson out there if given the opportunity. He goes out there without a mic, and then if I've never seen this guy, here's this skinny motherfucker that probably weighs 175 pounds, and he's coming out in a leather jacket with douchebag hair, which Zack Sabre Jr. has douchebag hair. Let that motherfucker cut a promo. What is so hard about this? They have completely botched this. Completely botched it. The only match that they've given real build to is Tanahashi Moxley. And when we get to the final segment of the show, I'll let you know why that pissed me off too, Jason.
Wow. Didn't mind the promo from Bryan Danielson. I thought it was,
I thought it was nice to see him cut a promo.
It was, just sit back and let the man talk. Obviously disappointed that we're not going to get the ZSJ match, but I kind of thought that if they were going to make the match, they would have just made it right away and just been done with it. The longer they waited, the less hopeful I became, but that was just me. Now, that being said, I agree with what you guys said about having ZSJ come out. I mean, at the very least, stand in the ring with him, even though that would probably have been too much of a tease because you're not going to have the match. If you're going to have him come out with mic in hand, but once again, you're not going to have the match, so maybe that's the reason not to do it.
Can Zack Sabre Jr. not come out and put him in some kind of submission hold? Can Bryan Danielson not be put in some kind of submission hold by Zack Sabre Jr. and be like, hey, here's the guy he's going to face. Look at this weird-ass fucking submission that Zack Sabre Jr., he's the new Dean Malenko. He's the man of 1,004 holds.
So if you did that and you came out and let's say Zack Sabre Jr. tied up Daniel Bryan to like a pretzel, but you couldn't get the match, I don't necessarily think that's a good way to go.
No, even if Daniel Bryan can't be in the match, then you at least put some heat on Zack Sabre Jr. because he took this guy that's ineligible to fight and he put him in submission anyway and said, fuck you. There's no way that he couldn't take a...
If Bryan Danielson is legit medically unfit to wrestle, I don't think that, once again, I get what you're saying, and it's a good idea, but if he can't physically do it, then I don't think that's a good, smart business move. It's kind of like when Punk dived into the crowd. Look, you're the champ now. You bigger than diving in the crowd. You can go run around and give everybody a high five in the front row if you want to. That's a good look. But if you can't make this match, I don't necessarily have a problem with not having the physicality. Zack Sabre Jr. should have talked. I agree with you there. But I don't have a problem with them not touching.
Okay.
This just reminded me of a really funny movie, indie movie by Taika Waititi, who has done a lot of really funny things since, including the upcoming Thor: Love and Thunder. But it's with one of the Flight of the Conchords dudes, and it's called Eagle versus Shark. And the whole movie is this guy preparing to fist fight his childhood bully, and whenever he finally like confronts him, he realizes that his childhood bully has been paralyzed and is in a wheelchair. He just beats his fucking ass anyway. I know I just ruined like the whole plot of the movie, but it came out 15 years ago. But yeah, it's just like it would have been dastardly for Zack Sabre to just do something to him. But I understand not touching. I kind of get both sides of it, but just give me something more than this. Like Bill said, just don't be cute. This is not cute. Like you're doing business. Like you want to build this thing up as big as it can be so that you can have another one. Unless they already decided that this has been a shit show and we'll just do it again and do a make good. But it's been a shit show. Even the show week to week is bogged down and it's not as good of a product.
Well, it's like I mean, really, the idea should have been, let's build up 4 matches as big as we can make them, and we'll just fill up the card with some other matches. But you don't have to build up every match. You don't have to have Jericho come out and talk about Umino. You don't have to do that. Yeah. You can just have 4 huge matches, and everything else is filler in a good way. Toriano's not even on this card. All right.
There is travesty. A God.
Absolute travesty.
I ain't paying money to see that motherfucker kiss my ass.
What's next, Zach?
We had a Moxley cut a promo, just like Moxley does. It was good. Talked about him getting healthy, being a better man, being a better father, and facing and needing those things because he's facing down the biggest match of his life against arguably the greatest wrestler to ever live, and all that stuff is true. And that's what I love about Jon Moxley promos is he never lies. And this is great. So much better than what happened later. But basically just setting up for the main event. Then we had a 6-man Orange Cassidy and Roppongi Vice. Is he injured or something? We're getting a lot of Rocky Romero, which is fine. Rocky Romero is better than Chucky T. Sorry, Chucky.
Wow.
Chucky
T slander.
I mean, I like him well enough. He's got a great job. He just goes out there and Chuck Taylor knows exactly like what he is. He's just like, you know what I mean? Like he ain't out there he's not a work rate guy, but he's having the time of his life. But still, and then they're facing United Empire, Kyle Fletcher, Mark Davis, and Will Ospreay. So this match was just awesome for just a fun party match, 6-way, and or not 6-way, 6-man. And I mean they put Orange over Fletcher, I think it was, and just a fun party match, and obviously setting up, building Orange up a little bit to face Ospreay. I don't really know what more you can say about this. It's about what happened.
No, I liked it. You know what hit me the other night? I wasn't even thinking about wrestling, and the phrase Roppongi Vice just came into my head, and then I was like, wait a minute, is that a play on Miami Vice? Ding, 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 ding. Never occurred to me.
Look at the brain on Big Brad.
Never occurred to me. You guys ever seen the movie Limitless where Bradley Cooper takes that pill that gives you 100% of your brain activity?
No.
And he takes the pill.
Into Keith Lee.
He takes the pill and he's like, oh, now he starts speaking all these languages and figuring out the stock market. That's how I felt when I found out that Roppongi Vice. I was like, oh shit.
I was like, I'll be down.
Okay, what's next?
Then Jeff Cobb, Great-O-Khan come out. So there's a 5-on-3 because you got the whole United Empire out there, and FTR makes the save. So just another segment building Forbidden Door. But then we get backstage segment with Sanjay Dutt, Jay Lethal, Satnam Singh. This was fine, but there's so much going on. I don't know that it matters to be on a go-home show for a match that it's not even going to be on that card. Just save it for the next week. Nobody really gives a shit.
Ding, ding, ding.
Hang on. I want to jump in for 30 seconds on this one. Okay, so obviously Samoa Joe's been out for a little bit, banged up by the latest attack by Dutt, Jay Lethal, and Satnam Singh. I guess the whole point of this promo was to say that Joe has 30 days to defend the title, otherwise he needs to drop the title. Okay, that's cool. I didn't know that was a deal in ROH. But if that's the case, where's Jonathan Gresham? It's been more than 30 days since he's defended the title, and there's no mention of that. So I guess I don't necessarily have a problem with the promo per se, but then if you're going to present this angle of the title has to be defended 30 days, then you need to be consistent with it. Otherwise, don't bring it up.
Right, just don't bring it up.
If this and
Every time they bring it up, all it does is shed light on how many times they don't bring it up.
And I was thinking, I was like, okay, then I should have asked High Five Time to shout out to High Five Time. I'm going to see you on Sunday, my brother. I should have asked him this when we were talking. Is this a ROH thing? Is this a normal ROH thing? Does this happen all the time?
A wrestling trope. I think
so too, because I don't.
Yeah, I think it goes back to territory days.
And that's fine. I get that point, but then once again, don't bring it up. If this is not a thing that you're going to hold people to, quote unquote, there's no reason to bring it up. All you got to say is take the part about, the 30 days being out and just call out Samoa Joe to say, hey, I'm ready to, if Jay Lethal's ready to take the title off of Samoa Joe, I know you banged up, stop being a little puss, get your ass down in the ring, let's have this match. Something along those lines. The stip that he brought up immediately made me stop and think, wait a minute, is this an ROH thing, or did they just put this out there for the angle? Either way, you're making me think about something other than the Samoa Joe Jay Lethal match itself, which should be good. But I'm more thinking about the step than the match itself. That's a problem.
Totally. Then we have maybe the highlight of the show for me.
Yo, boy, he was pissed.
Christian Cage comes out and, he does a much more complex version of the WWE because of the fans promo, the heel turn promo, but basically saying, Jungle Boy eliminated him in a casino battle royal, and he is capable of holding a grudge.
I totally forgot about that. About that. And he said it, I was oh, yeah, he did eliminate him. Oh, I was like, damn, you that petty? And then 2 minutes later, he was like, he's like, Tony was like, I can't believe you're that petty. He was like, damn right I'm that petty. I was like, see, I like this Christian already right now. I say, yes, you've been holding this grudge for like a suitcase for a hot minute. I like this new Christian Cage. Go ahead.
Now, this Christian Cage is infinitely more interesting than anything that he's done in AEW so far. You can tell he's having a lot of fun with it, like making Tony really hold the mic up. He's way taller than Tony. He's just making him hold his arm up there for like 5 minutes.
Right, I was going to say, most motherfuckers just take the shit. No, put that mic up so everybody can hear me. I was like, damn.
So good. But yeah, I mean, he laid out like a logical reasoning, and this is something that's been building for a long time. Like, this is good. This is really good stuff. I've been critical of the show up till this point, except for the fun 6-man party match. But this is good shit. And, he really kind of laid in to some stuff. He even kind of planted a seed maybe about an MJF feud, where he's like, oh, you want to earn your paycheck, you want to make money like me, try having a match that people talk about for more than a week after it happens. And I was like, oh, man, which I think is more of a indictment of, not even an indictment, it's just a reality of like how great wrestling is right now, that we're in this kind of boom period of work rate and like awesome pro wrestling that we don't get to kind of, savor the really greatly worked matches because there's so many of them. But yeah, planted the seed for maybe an MJF feud. Definitely, laid into Jungle Boy hard. Pulled some very, very cheap heat talking about his dead dad. And, Luchasaurus comes out and it looks like
Jesus.
Luchasaurus is going to be Christian's heavy, which I also like, because Christian's very full of shit. Like, he convinces Luchasaurus not to kill him.
Right.
And that they need to talk. And then he looks at the camera. Like,
sorry, smiling. I'm just like, dude, you just got Jedi mind trick. Get your dumb ass out this ring.
Yeah. But otherwise, like, it's brilliant because otherwise, what else was Luchasaurus going to do? He wasn't going to do shit. So, Luchasaurus, Christian turning Luchasaurus against Jungle Boy and kind of using him as a barrier before Jungle Boy can actually get his hands on Christian and eventually overcome him. I think it's pretty smart. So I think this is very good booking and this is good TV.
A few things about this segment. Number one, I'd like to say that cheap heat is still heat. You know, I want to echo what Christian said, because Christian really went at wrestling Twitter, and I loved it a whole bunch. I missed the first part of Zach's talking about this, but yes, this is Christian at his absolute best. Heel Christian is the best Christian, and not only that, but I feel a little justified when I've always been a Christian guy more than an Edge guy. I've always said that I like Christian more than Edge, and I'm telling you, if you put their promos side by side, Christian is way more believable, way less cartoony. And I know that cartoony, you know, the old wrestling saying is you got to play to the back row, and that's definitely what Edge does. But in 2022, I think you probably want to be more of a Christian than an Edge. The other thing that I'll say, I love the idea of Luchasaurus being Christian's heavy. And saying, I think I said this last week, but I just want to reiterate, because I don't know if Zach heard it, and I don't know if the listening audience out there listened to last week, but I just want to say, yelling, "You raised a piece of shit," to your rival's mother sitting in the front row is probably the funniest wrestling thing that you can do. Like, A1, so funny. You raised a piece of shit, especially because Jungle Boy has done nothing to be called a piece of shit at all, except for throw Christian out of a match in which everybody was trying to throw everybody out of a match. But to say you raised a piece of shit, I'm sorry. That's why wrestling will forever hold my heart as my favorite thing in the entire world, because that is fucking absurd in the best way possible. I love the segment. I watched this promo twice.
It was really good. It was no question about it. It filled the MJF void. That was my first thought afterwards. I was like, damn, that's some MJF type shit. You know, he just came after anybody and everybody that was associated with Jungle Boy. You know, the crowd, you know, obviously with the oohs and ahs, you know, that's always a good sign. You're hitting the mark. So in that scenario, I thought Christian did everything that he was supposed to do. You know, it's a why, Christian, why? He answered it. And then, you know, kind of piggybacked on top of it to where he's like, you know, I wanted to ride this gravy train until it ran dry. The one time I didn't come out to the match when they were the tag team champions.
Completely logical.
Lost, you know,
completely logical.
And I was like, okay, all right, cool. So, and that's really all I ever ask, is just make it make sense.
And the other thing that Zach said that I want to respond to, like, just kind of say in concert to, is when he says have a match that people remember more than a week from now, and then he said even have a match that they name a pay-per-view after. All very good. Zach said that's more of an indictment of how great wrestling is. It's also kind of an indictment of AEW. Like, I don't think that he meant to do this, but AEW from week to week lets nothing breathe. Like, once somebody gets a surprise win, there's two other guys in the ring that are getting ready to take that guy out that got that surprise win. Once somebody wins once the Young Bucks win the titles, there's a Christian Cage heel turn less than fucking 3 minutes away. Like, AEW just doesn't let anything breathe. I love AEW. That is my biggest criticism against them.
Now, it's like it's the joke that Tubular said 2 weeks ago. It's the we didn't start the fire booking, where it's like you have this, you got this, you got this, got this, got this. And, I mean, don't get me wrong.
It happened in the next segment.
It packs the 2 hours, but like you said, it doesn't let anything breathe from week to week or 2 weeks from then. It's 100 miles per hour, balls to the wall, or you do something and then it goes away for a while and then they try to pick it back up again.
What was next, Zach?
Young Bucks with Kyle O'Reilly, who is apparently also injured. People.
Damn, dog, how's he injured? Shit, he's hardly wrestled.
Oh, his charisma's broke.
You ain't shit. I'm watching you point down. Unfortunately, this is not a visual meter for everybody else, but I'm looking at Bill and he's like pointing down in his leg or whatever, and I'm like, really? What happened to his leg? He's like, oh yeah, he broke his charisma. You motherfucker.
I don't know if he's shoot injured or if it's just because like they racked him with the bat last week. I don't know, but yeah. So they got a promo.
Yeah, batting the balls. I would be sitting. I'll be taking a break from wrestling for about a week.
Taking a break from life,
right? I'll say put some ice on this motherfucker. Go ahead.
He's got a torn personality.
You were sitting there. I wish somebody who could see this motherfucker. He took like 30 seconds, pulled out his cigarette, and turned the mic off, and he was over there like plotting his next joke.
It's true.
Go ahead, TV. Sorry.
No problem. But yeah, basically, Young Bucks just cut a promo saying they're going to be at Forbidden Door and they're going to team up with Bullet Club to face Sting and his cronies, which we'll get to. Sting and his cronies have an amazing name.
Right.
I don't know if you guys saw it, but we'll get to it here in a second. But then we had Malachi Black versus Sensor Obscuro. I mean, this is a good match as expected. Commercial break in the middle of it, but Malachi Black goes over with Black Mask. No surprise here, considering Penta can't actually wrestle on the New Japan card because he's a AAA guy. It's the MLL. Put the kibosh on all the Mexican wrestlers. So, yeah. Malachi Black goes over. And speaking of an homage to last week, this is a qualifying match for the All-Atlantic title belt. And I just want to say the great joke by Bill where he's like, everybody in the ring will raise their belts. Everybody in the crowd raises their belts. Excalibur raises his belt. Jim Ross raises his belt, but his pants fall down because it's just his belt.
Thank you. Thank you. I remember telling that joke.
That's great. No, it was good, but it does make a point.
I forgot about it till right now, but now I remember it.
Belts. There are a shit ton of belts. I will agree with that.
Yeah, so, Pat comes running down to stare Black down. Miro cut the promo, talking about God, gold, and gorgeous wives. And,
incredible.
Yeah, then we're going to have those three dudes versus Ishii, but no, we're not, because Ishii is also injured. So
what?
Ishii has, New Japan just announced Ishii has a knee injury.
Replaced
and
by?
He cannot compete. Clark Connors, who is an awesome worker.
Yes.
But that is a big, that's
a letdown. That's a letdown.
Yeah. He's an awesome worker, and the match is going to be.
It's not Clark Connors' fault.
No, it's not.
I just wanted to see Ishii just
bang around with Miro.
Man.
Ultimately, I want Miro and Ishii to try to beat each other into the ground.
That's a huge bummer.
Yeah, for sure.
I will say I do kind of appreciate that. Maybe this title. I know there's a lot of belts. Maybe this title. Maybe I said this before on the podcast, but I was drunk. I don't remember, but maybe this could be like the work rate title, like the high speed title in Stardom, where you just get like really banger 10-minute matches and they're super fast, and that could be cool.
Damn, that sucks about Ishii. I'll just say this: I don't necessarily mind the All Atlantic title. I guess at some point, I'm waiting to see if someone that's not contracted to AEW wins this title. That to me is more of a forbidden door than anything else, because you're now allowing someone that's not underneath your umbrella, so to speak, to represent your company. That being said, Ishii is a loss, and it kind of puts a little damper on it. I get why Clark Connors is being his replacement. Obviously, that was I shouldn't say obviously because not everybody watches New Japan. That was the All-Atlantic final on the New Japan side. So that makes sense. It's just, like I said, the good part about it, at least
and
for me,
he's an American, so he's probably already here.
Yeah. For me, the good part about it is, selfishly, I've seen Ishii live when at Windy City Riot. So, I mean, that's off my checklist. But that match, if having Ishii in it, that would have been something that could have easily stole the show. So that part's the downer.
There's just, him not being there it really makes it feel kind of cursed, because Ishii is one of those guys that, unless you watch the G1, and I'm not trying to sound like Mr. Smart here or anything, but unless you've watched the last couple of years G1, then you really don't, you might not understand like what a fun banger of a worker this guy is. Like, he works stiff, he works hard, and he can fight anybody's match, and he makes everybody look good. Like I feel like the last two G1s, we've talked about how he always has a great G1. He always ends up with like 8 points, something or 8 points or something. He's never a threat to win it.
But all his matches are good.
But goddamn, if it's a guy that you like and he's fighting Ishii, you're like, oh, this is going to be a match I want to watch for sure.
Ishii doesn't go anywhere. He doesn't back down. He's the Stone Pitbull for a reason. And I don't care if you're 7 feet tall, or in the case of Carcano's in their All-Atlantic tournament final, Ishii was the bigger guy, and that rarely ever happens.
Yeah, and it's really a guy that, as a New Japan fan, I want to see fight. I want to see him and Miro. I want to see some big meaty men slapping meat. You know what I mean?
For sure. That's, like I said, that part's the disappointment. But ultimately, I think it's going to be okay.
Yep. Zach.
Yeah. So then we had a Wardlow video package. I don't know if anybody cares anymore. It's pretty harsh, but man, they've really cooled him off like a lot.
Okay, hang on.
I think it's better for him to take a couple weeks off. Just throw some packages, and when he comes back, people will be excited to see him.
I don't think they purposely cooled him off.
No,
but
they fucked it up.
No,
how'd they fuck it up?
We talked about this last week. Zach, go ahead. You haven't had a chance to speak on this.
Well, they put him in a comedy match after like the biggest match of his life. He's back to doing like comedy segments. Killing 20 guys in the comedy segment.
I'll give you that part. I'm saying the Scorpio Sky part, that's not out of his control. If Scorpio Sky's hurt, then he's just hurt. It is what it is. The MJF part, if this is a legitimate shoot, which I think it is, that is what it is. They're keeping him off TV for this reason. He can't do anything about that. The only thing he can do is be in control of what they're putting in front of him, which is not very good right now.
Yes, but neither Zach nor I are criticizing Wardlow about this.
Not at all.
It's circumstantial and booking. Or it's booking one and circumstantial two.
Fair.
Okay.
Yeah, totally. We had Adam Cole come out because he's going to be commentary for the next match, which was a really good match.
Mm-hmm.
Joey texted us about this in the group chat, and he's like, "Hey, it's like Silas Young's wrestling like he wants a job." And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "I feel like I've seen Silas Young and Adam Page before." And then Excalibur, so I was like, "Oh yeah, these guys wrestled like they had a feud in ROH," which I think is right around the time that I actually started watching like ROH weekly for a while. I had always caught it late at night at the bar and stuff, back in the day, but I wasn't really watching wrestling regularly. But right around the time when Adam Page is in there, Young Bucks, Cody, that's like whenever I started watching it, and I remember seeing these guys wrestle. But Adam Page is way better than he was back then, and this match ruled. These guys really just, let it all hang out. And what do you guys think? Do you agree?
No, I said it on Twitter when I was watching the match. I was like, Silas Young and Adam Page, they had the beef in ROH, but this ain't the same Adam Page anymore. I'm not saying that Silas Young hasn't improved, but Adam Page is not the same guy that was, I guess, almost a jobber for Bullet Club, for lack of a better term. He wasn't like Yujiro, but he had way more talent. He just took a bunch of L's. And that's not necessarily his fault. It just kind of is what it is. So now you fast forward to last night where now you have this, just genesis of this new Hangman Page. You have the Kenny Omega feud. He becomes champion. He has, some good matches as champion, and then just lost the title. This is a totally different Adam Page than Silas Young faced, and that's what I thought the good part about it was, where you saw, if you watch like High Five Time, would probably know this better than anybody else. From then to now, you can really appreciate how far Adam Page has come, and that way, it kind of leads into what happens post match with Cole and Switchblade and one Reina Mega.
So I have my relationship with Silas Young as a fan to a wrestler started when we went to, I don't know if Jason was there. Zach was not there. It was before the podcast. I went with John Jones and Cedric and Tinder Mahal, and we went to Ring of Honor out in Collinsville. And Silas Young fought Cheeseburger. And Cheeseburger is a skinny black wrestler, young guy, and Silas Young is a very huge white guy named the last real man, Silas Young. And they had a match. It was the third match on the card, I think, second or third match, and I cackled the entire time. I was like, it wasn't a comedy match, but it was one of those matches that like reinforces my love of wrestling, and I was like, I love this dude. I subsequently wrote a novel that is currently being edited by I'm getting it edited right now. I'm trying to get it published, right? And my main character, every time I wrote his name, and Zach's read the novel, and every time I wrote the name Bronson the Priest, which is the name of the main character, I pictured Silas Young. Pretty good name, right? Bronson
you see me laughing. I think it's great.
Bronson the Priest. Then, fast forward to a couple weeks ago at the Wrestling at the Grandel show.
It was not a couple weeks ago.
A couple months ago? I don't know, man. Time flies. How old is my daughter?
Right?
So I went to that show. That show was a ton of fun. Silas Young had a great match. Silas Young went to the bar that I worked at for 16 years and still moonlight at sometimes. Jack Patrick's, not a sponsor. And apparently he was like the nicest guy there. He was taking pictures with everybody. He was doing shots. He closed the bar down. Apparently he was a ton of fun. And he is friends with Tinder Mahal, Joey O'Farrell these days. And
him and High Five Tom hit it off?
I'm a huge Silas Young fan. And I root for him in all things. And I thought that this match with Adam Page, I thought that he put his best foot forward on national television. I thought he looked fucking great. He's kind of a Lance Archer type, not as big,
right?
But he's a
bigger guy that can do agile things.
Yes, big man wrestler, and he also sells like a motherfucker. And I root for Silas Young. I was a big fan of this segment.
If ROH comes back in full swing, I expect Silas Young to be in the mix in some form or fashion, whether it's mid-card, upper mid-card, main event, whatever the case may be.
For sure. Then what happened after the match, Zach?
Cole yells out to cut the music and starts cutting the promo, but he gets interrupted by Jay White. This was kind of almost like a WWE kind of thing.
Dude, you stole my thunder.
It was.
And then Jay White comes out and interrupts him and apologizes for interrupting, but he says, I'm not going to defend my title. Definitely not against you because you lost twice to him. And then he told, which is pretty funny.
Al Cole ain't got shit to say. That's great. Dude, I love Jay White. I'm so glad he's back.
Oh, he's the best. And gets in the ring, tells Paige it won't be him, and Paige just slaps the mic out of his hand, and they start fighting. Cole runs down, 2-on-1. But Cole grabs the belt, and he teases maybe doing a belt shot to Jay White with his back turned, but Jay White, picks up Paige, and they tease doing the belt. They're going to do the belt shot to him, but then the coin drops, and Okada's there. And, not the greatest segment in the world. I mean, Okada got a pretty good pop from Milwaukee, but not the greatest segment as far as like introducing, arguably the greatest wrestler. I know I said that about Tanahashi, but he's also there. Greatest current performing wrestler. But, this definitely gave me a shot of adrenaline for the pay-per-view because this thing was not looking great before Okada was not in it. And I mean, I know a 4-way, which is what this sets up, is not the ideal scenario. I know it's probably more politics than anything because nobody wants their top guys to lose. So you throw Adam Cole in the mix to take a pin. Yeah. I mean, the match I'm sure will be good, but yeah, that's it. I mean, Okada is on AEW TV, on American TV. That's pretty cool.
Agreed.
Regardless of the execution, that's pretty cool.
Agree that Okada being on AEW television is cool. This 4-way, and I know that everybody likes to joke about how much I like 3-ways, and it's not even really a joke in a lot of cases. Like, I do like triple threat matches. This 4-way seems a little bit beneath Okada for my money. And maybe that's just because the only time, I mean, I've seen Okada fight, I don't know, 25, 30 matches. Like, I've watched tons of G1s. I've seen all 4 of the Kenny Omega matches. I just hold him in such high esteem at being able to tell a story from minute 1 to minute 30 or minute 32 or minute 35 or sometimes minute 60 like he's done with Kenny Omega one time. That's where he excels. And like I said at the beginning of this conversation, him coming out to clear a couple guys from the ring and miss a Rainmaker just seems a little beneath him. And I hate that I feel that way, and I love him to death, and I hope that the American audience that doesn't listen to us and that just doesn't know anything about Okada and that buys the pay-per-view just because they're so AEW or because they've never watched New Japan but they hear it's good, I hope that this match is really good. I'm sure it will be. It has 4 spectacular workers. Just 4 unbelievable guys. And so I hope that lives up to it. I also hope that it's not on hour 7 of the pay-per-view, which is why I'm having a little bit of trepidation of watching it that night because, motherfucker, I got to work at 7 a.m. Jason.
I'll say a couple things. The Okada reaction was something I'd hoped I would hear, and I heard it. I guess it's one of those things where, as a New Japan guy, I want New Japan to do well, and the fact that you have some people on Twitter or on Facebook, whatever, social media in general, is like, nobody knows who Okada is. Nobody knows who Okada is. Nobody cares about Okada. I mean, if Minneapolis was any sort of indication of, the reaction that Okada could possibly get, Chicago's going to erupt on Sunday, okay? I just have a hard time understanding why people want to run down Okada or Tanahashi, whomever that, you might not see on a regular basis because you don't watch New Japan or you don't like New Japan, whatever the case may be. I'm sorry, guys. Here's the problem with this. Tanahashi and Okada have been on American TV. It was just in TNA back in 2010, and that was in the time where Vince Russo was running TNA. He didn't see anything in Okada. Woof. He didn't see anything in Tanahashi. Double woof. The fact that they were on the roster at the same time, neither one of them got pushed, and that's the reason why TNA/Impact doesn't have a really good relationship with New Japan. I think that's the basis behind it. If in an alternate universe, if you could have had Vince Russo keep Tanahashi, keep Okada, and built them up, I think this is a totally different story entirely. Dare I say, Okada might have went to WWE. But Thank God Vince Russo fucked it up, so it's another story for another time. I agree with a lot of what Two Beer and Bill said already. The build for this card hasn't been great, but I think part of the problem is that Tony Khan hasn't done his due diligence in the fact that he watches a lot of wrestling like I watch a lot of wrestling. He probably watches more so because he's a billionaire and he's got, time to do that shit while Jason has to grind from, 10 to 10. He knows who Okada is. He knows who Tanahashi is. He knows who Ishii is. Jay White, blah, 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 blah. Believe it or not, there are people out in the world that are wrestling fans that have never seen a New Japan match. And those are the people that you need to target for this scenario. I agree with Bill. A lot of this could have been taken care of with video packages. Jay White's on there. I guess the problem why you didn't do that is because you didn't have that main event set. If you would have had Okada and Jay White set 2 weeks ago, you could have built Okada up and then have him come out. If you could have done Adam Page versus Jay White. Jay White's been on American television enough to where everybody knows who he is. Moxley versus Tanahashi, great example. Okay. If you didn't know who Okada is, you damn sure don't know who Tanahashi is. You need to have, especially in this scenario, a package here or there, having him jump off this, have him jump off that, show, tell how he brought New Japan back from the doldrums. Get the emotional connection in so that way, walking into the door, whether you're physically in the arena or you're shelving out the $50, you have some sort of connection with guys you don't know.
What was next, Zach?
Tony Schiavone backstage with Jade Cargill and company. Another injury. Red Velvet is hurt. Not that that's like a huge deal, but basically, I want her to get better, but I'm not breaking any hearts here with Forbidden Door.
Stop. Just stop talking.
He started the sentence and he was like, I should probably just stop the sentence. I hope she's getting better, but
no, don't really care if Forbidden Door's the deal.
I don't care if she lives or dies. I mean,
R.I.P. Red Velvet.
Stokely Hathaway is not wasting any time looking for a new baddie, so hashtag baddie search if you're out there. Did you guys submit to the baddie search?
I did, yes. I submitted, but Stokely, I always want to call him Stokely Carmichael. Stokely Hathaway asked everybody to keep it PG, but I sent him my dick.
Dude, you fucking stole my thunder. God damn it. Fine.
Sorry.
Yeah, motherfucker. Go ahead. God, I hate when you steal my jokes.
Looking dick.
You're killing him.
So then we had Chris Statlander and Athena, talking about the aforementioned baddies. This is whatever. No need to spend time on it. We had Marina Shafir, Tony Storm. Again, kind of whatever. This is mostly to set up the match with
your world champion. Your world champion.
Yeah, that shows how impactful she is. I can't remember her fucking name. But anyway, I'm getting real salty here. I need to increase my blood sugar or something. But Tony Storm wins, obviously. Now the Rosa attacks, and Thunder Rosa makes the save, and they do the standoff with the belt. So just a little setup for the title match. This is totally fine. Totally fine booking. Heat up your challenger. It's good. Face off. This is like classic pro wrestling booking. It's totally fine.
Just real quick sidebar for 30 seconds. I think this is and I can't believe I'm getting ready to say this. I think this is the best build for any of the Thunder Rosa matches so far.
Totally.
And that's a damn shame.
Since she's been champ, yes.
Yes. Second thing.
And I think part of it is Tony Storm is starting to get more comfortable in her own skin again.
I mean,
and she's starting to feel like the star that she is.
They tried with Deeb.
Yeah,
it wasn't for lack of effort with
no,
Deeb.
It just didn't
click.
Yeah.
Tony Storm's a star, man.
Speaking of Shafir and Thunder Rosa they obviously had a match a couple weeks back, which was not necessarily well received. I guess here's my question. Do you think that Thunder Rosa was sandbagging Marina Shafir? That's the rumor, the scuttlebutt that was out coming after their match. Part of the reason why it didn't look so good because Thunder Rosa didn't necessarily want to make it look so good.
I didn't think Marina Shafir looked that good during the Tony Storm match, though.
Okay.
I mean,
yeah,
I think
I saw those clips, and honestly, it kind of looked. It looked like she was. I mean, Coach JCB, where there's smoke, there's fire, and this ain't the first time that we've heard like whether or not Thunder Rosa actually wants to work with somebody, whether or not she's very cooperative. So, heard it before.
I agree with you, though.
I'm not a professional.
You know who Marina Shafir reminds me of? She reminds me of when Tito Ortiz showed up in TNA. It's like, okay, so here's a badass that we've kind of done some wrestling work with, and now we're going to throw her into something. And then you throw her into something, it's like, well, she's better than your average Joe that you pull off the street. But she's not a wrestler. She's not a pro wrestler. She's a
not
fighter.
A pro wrestler. Yeah.
She's a fighter.
Right. And I think part of that is she doesn't want to give herself away to being thrown around or selling.
Right. And
say
what you will, or I'll say what I will.
You always do.
About Ronda Rousey, but Ronda Rousey, but I mean,
no,
Ronda Rousey.
About last week, you're like, yeah.
Mrs. Willikers kicked me out of study hall, and she told my boyfriend to go see the principal. Don't give a damn about my reputation.
She does. Her and Marina Shafir both kind of always look like they're gonna cry. Even though they're just mean mugging, they look like they could just burst into tears at any time. Also.
Hey, put the sharpshooter on me. I'm going to go down there and kick her ass.
Yeah, he put the sharpshooter on me. Meet me at 3 o'clock at the park.
I'm dead. That was the greatest fucking thing ever. Go ahead, Jimmy. Finish this shit up.
Forgot about that, too. I love when you guys remind me of my good jokes.
That shit was
I was just wake up the next day and I'm like, did I say anything too fucked up on the podcast last night? I don't know. I got real high and fell asleep to the NBA.
But I say the one time you did, we edited that some bitch.
Yeah, we did.
Good job, Junior. What's the main event?
Real quick, we had Darby Allin.
I forgot about that.
Doing the promo. So we have Shingo and Hiromu, which I gotta say, I love this team. Darby, Sting, Shingo, Hiromu. Doesn't make any sense. I also don't give a shit. It makes even less sense that the name of that super group is Dudes with Attitudes.
That's
I also love it.
I'm like, dude, come on. Sting came up with this, okay? Or you drug it up from 1990, fill in the blank. I don't know which one it is. But come on, man.
It has to be.
I
would doubt it if Sting was in a group called Dudes
with Attitudes. I was getting ready to say, it sounds, I almost want to put money on this and say that was their War Games team name in the 90s at some point. Don't quote me on that, but I would put $5 on the fact that I think that name has already been used in WCW. That being said, Shingo coming over is great. Hiromu's coming over is great. This is just going to be a nice little shit show in the middle of the card. Where it's just going to be all hell breaking loose.
Can I tell you what this reminds me of?
Go ahead.
Dudes with Attitudes. Because I can't tell if they're trying to troll me specifically or not. Like, are they trying to be like, let's make all these people mad with the nerdiest name that we can come up with? Dudes with Attitudes. But I remember one time we were on vacation at my sister's house. And me and my brother were watching Family Feud. Me and Jacob. It was probably like 1:30 in the morning. And the question was, there was 3 answers on the board. Everybody's familiar with Family Feud,
Top
right?
3 answers.
And they were like, name a word that describes Howard Stern that rhymes with dude.
Crude.
Right. I think it was supposed to be crude, rude, and lewd.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So there's 3 answers up there, right? And like these people are fucking stumped, right? So
nobody hits the buzzer.
Nobody hits the buzzer.
Ooh.
And then they go to one side, and then finally the guy's like crude or rude, and they were like, okay, let's go to the next person. It's just buzzer, and then they get to the last guy, and it's the dad, and the guy goes, he's got a bad attitude. And me and my brother, like, lit up. Like, we thought that was the funniest fucking thing. It was before we could drink or smoke weed. Like, we were like 14 and 11 or something. And we thought that was the fucking funniest thing we'd ever seen in our lives. Like, what a terrible answer. He's got a bad attitude.
Like, it
was like Louis Anderson was like, show me dude with bad attitude. Like, it was like,
yeah, right. Come on, dog. You said anyway, one word. You go over here giving a phrase and shit.
That is going to be the entirety of my commentary on this match.
I think dudes with attitudes is actually the original name for NWA.
You mean the rap group, right?
I'll say, you know what? Yes. Dudes with attitudes just isn't clicking. It's just not. It's missing something.
Yeah, what could it be? What could it be?
We're all black.
I think dude sounds a little too nice.
Jerry Harrell was coming in, just like, you know what, guys? I think dudes with attitudes.
We're too early. We're too early on the podcast to make me laugh this hard.
There's one like white record executive where he's like, I think dude is appropriating my culture, and they're like, fine, we'll just go with it.
Y'all saying niggas with attitudes, goddammit. That's what we gonna do.
Thank God we have Jason on the podcast, man. Because we'd just be talking about this, and we'd have to be like, you guys know what we're talking about, right?
Right. You know what that it is.
Luckily, we have Jason to say everything. Okay, dudes with attitudes. Event. What the fuck? I mean, come on. All right, what's next?
Main event, Jericho and Lance Archer versus Tanahashi and Jon Moxley, which Tanahashi and Moxley is a great tag team. I mean, super fun. But match was fine. We get some interference. The best part is we get Tanahashi winning with a high fly flow. Love that. Absolutely love that.
What you supposed to do.
And then we have, like, an absolute Bill's favorite way to end a Dynamite.
It was the schmaz. It was the schmaz of all schmazes.
Yeah, the schmaz to end all schmazes while Tanahashi and Moxley have to do a stare down in the ring.
Nothing's happening. Like, don't worry about it. We just gonna stare each other down.
What?
For like 5 full minutes.
Tell me when I can talk, Zach. Just tell me.
I'm just saying they're brawling and they're staring and staring, and we couldn't give Zack Sabre Jr. a microphone because we didn't have enough time. So go ahead.
Dude, yeah, you said it right there. Go ahead.
I mean, what a perfect microcosm of all of AEW's problems. It's like they have all these dudes fighting on the outside. The truth is that nobody's going to remember anything that happened in this segment because there was too much happening. It's like you have all these guys fighting, and then you have the camera just cuts to Moxley and Tanahashi just staring at each other. Why wouldn't they just shake hands with each other? It's so stupid. It just belies all understanding of human interaction. It's just so stupid. And then you have the announcers trying to make sense of it all. And maybe that's what offends me the most. Or not offends me, but bothers me the most, is that the announcers, Excalibur is as pro of a pro as you can get. You have 3 just absolute pros doing the commentary, and they cannot catch up. They do not know what to do. They have no direction from up top. And maybe this is like when people are like, don't kill Saddam Hussein because at least everybody knows what they're doing.
Right.
Now, that's not me being pro Saddam Hussein. I did just smoke a bat. But that's not me being pro Saddam Hussein. I'm just saying it was chaotic.
Very.
Almost as chaotic as Kurdistan in 2000. I'm just fucking around.
I say you just couldn't walk away from it, huh? You just had to double down on the joke. I totally agree. I was gonna say that with all the fighting, outside the ring, and you got Mox and Tanahashi staring each other down. I'm like, okay, so nobody, Wheeler Yuta is out there fighting Suzuki. I'm like, come on, man. You can't have Wheeler Yuta out there fighting Suzuki. You know how this is going to happen. John Moxley, you need to get your narrow ass out here and help your boy, okay? Because he's getting ready to get this work, which he ended up ultimately doing in like the 15 million shots we saw. It has to, for my opinion, it has to be one or the other. If you want to have a schmoz, have it as a separate segment. Bring, Jericho out, have him do that. Okay, you got Showman Uno there. You got Will Yuta there. Okay, you got the 6-man guys there. You got Santana Ortiz. If this is going to be the main event of the Forbidden Door, Moxley versus Tanahashi, which I'm guessing is going to be because it's an AEW show and AEW would have the final say, wouldn't you want to have more eyes on those two or focus on Tanahashi more versus a mid-card? It's not even a mid-card feud. It's going to be somewhere in the middle of a show, which is an interpromotional show. It's basically a one-off, okay? A lot of these other things that are happening right now, like Great O'Khan, Jeff Cobb versus FTR and Roppongi Vice, that's a one-off, okay? Whoever wins, and I won't say that because we're going to do predictions here in a little bit, whoever wins is probably not coming back for a year. Okay? So at that point, you probably have to start thinking about the bigger picture and focus on what Moxley and Tanahashi are, whatever. Sorry, it probably is. Zach, is it is or are in that scenario?
I mean, you can really kind of, they're interchangeable.
Okay, perfect. That's what I like to hear. You make me feel better about myself. So in this scenario, like I said, I just think that it should have just did more with Moxley and Tanahashi, build on that as your true main event versus the normal TK fucking motive. God bless him for it. Like I said, it's the we didn't start the fire fucking, booking of shit. That match wasn't over 5 good seconds. And then all of a sudden, everybody's coming out. I'm like, damn, dog, shit. You couldn't have done this at a different point somewhere? Don't get me wrong. I'm looking forward to Forbidden Door. I think it's going to be a good show. The build has been suspect at best.
Okay.
And I think the biggest reason, and this is just my opinion on it, it's how Tony Khan books. He's trying to get everybody on a show and not focusing on matches that are probably the most important. Getting Tanahashi, acclimated to the American audience that doesn't know him. The same way with Okada. Same way with Zack Sabre Jr. A lot of guys that are on this New Japan roster, American fans might not know. That's your job as Tony Khan as the promoter. So like Tubier said at the start, if you want to cough up $50, but you don't know who half these guys are, you might not cough up those $50.
Okay, let me ask you something. So I just went and checked with the baby again. Has Zach talked since I left?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. All right. Okay, so
this wasn't the first segment, man.
Anything else to say about AEW Dynamite? We'll get to the predictions later.
I'll say this as not the biggest AEW guy between the three of us. I'll let you two figure out who's the bigger AEW mark.
Well,
I'm kind of glad.
We're both.
Okay,
we're equal.
I'm kind of
and
glad.
You are too.
No, New Japan's number one. AEW's two.
I mean, yeah, but like you're still a mark.
Yeah, but
Okay, all right.
I think about it in different ways.
Never mind. Go ahead.
I'll say this. I'll be kind of glad when this build is over. We've had the Forbidden Door pay-per-view, and we can start to kind of move on. I think this is probably a little too much for Tony to be doing in this scenario. He's got a lot of things to juggle. We haven't even really talked about ROH at all. I think that's something that needs to be figured out. It's a lot for him to do, and he's trying to do it in a way that he feels comfortable with, but it's not doing justice for the entire card from top to bottom.
Okay. Zach, any other thoughts?
Nope. Yeah, I'm ready to wrap it up. But yeah, I agree. I'm ready. I'm ready for this to be over. Even though I'm very looking forward to it, I'm ready for it to be over.
And we still got predictions later, but in the meantime, let's get to that 3 count.
1, 2, 3.
Now, if you're an American wrestling watcher and you don't really delve into the promotions that might happen outside of the U.S., for example, NJPW, or what's the British one that all the guys Rev Pro, you might have been tuning out over the last segment because we were talking about New Japan. But
no, it was AEW, just some New Japan sprinkled on top.
Sure. So here's something just for you guys. The G1 block got announced. And we're going to discuss them.
You really going to be mad in a bit.
No, you know what I really wanted to talk about was NXT, but I'm the only motherfucker in the country that still watches NXT.
No, there's people that watch it.
I just want to say, if NXT was some indie promotion with the exact same talent and the exact same booking, all you fucking smarks out there would be watching NXT because you'd be like, oh, this Tony D'Angelo guy is good. Oh, this Carmelo Hayes guy is fucking really good.
I
love Grayson Waller. Oh, Solo Sikoa is good. Oh, you know what else? I like Braun Breaker. Oh, man, Cameron Grimes is good. But because it's NXT and it's not the NXT that everybody's used to, the gold and black, everybody just let this shit go and didn't watch it anymore. Jason, go ahead. You're raising your hand.
Okay, so I did watch it, and it's developmental with main roster booking. At a certain point, why do I have to watch more main roster shit on developmental level?
I mean, yes, there's a part of you that watches wrestling for the booking, but there's also a part of you that watches wrestling for the talent, right?
Yeah.
Like there's tons of guys that get booked terrible.
There is talent on the NXT roster. I'm sorry. I can't get behind Tony D'Angelo because it feels like, okay, he turned with Tony. He's with Tony D'Angelo now?
No.
That makes sense.
No, he turned on him again. He double-crossed him the other night.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Never mind. There you go.
Any thoughts, Zach, before we get to the G1?
Bam.
That is funny that if it was live and it was just an indie show, I would go to it and I would be entertained because it's on TV.
I'm telling you,
higher expectations, and I hate it.
Braun Breaker is like
he's legit,
unnatural, like a fucking supernatural in the ring too. Like he's not very refined, but he's not terrible at all. And neither is Tony D'Angelo.
Carmelo Hayes, I think, is the standout guy of this
Carmelo Hayes, man, fucking
Grayson
rules.
Waller, I think, is going to be an amazing heel at some point.
Solo Sikoa, don't be surprised if I'm calling it right now. Write it down, because I thought about this the other night. I wasn't even stoned. Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns at SummerSlam, right?
Right.
Usos are going to come out there.
Yeah.
They're going to have 2 Usos. There's going to have Roman Reigns, Paul Heyman. Brock Lesnar's going to be losing. Solo Sikoa's going to come out, and they're going to be like, that's the 3rd Uso. And it's going to be Solo Sikoa as the 3rd Uso, and that's how they're just going to expand the bloodline. That's my thoughts anyway. Let's get to we're already on that 3 count. So let's talk about the G1 blocks. So I'm going to name, they're doing a little different this year.
I got it written down.
I got it right here too. I don't know, I'm sure Zach knew this, but it's 4 blocks of 7 people instead of 2 blocks of 10 people.
Yep.
All right, he's into it. That was a very excited answer.
No, I just thought you said if I knew it or not.
No, I'm fucking.
I know it.
So the A block is Lance Archer, Jonah, formerly known as Bronson Reed, Toriano, Okada, Tom Lawler, Jeff Cobb, and Bad Luck Fale. Now they're also doing it a little bit different this year in terms of scheduling, in that 1 match from each block is going to happen each night.
Then you have, like, a semifinal.
So it's not the blocks following each other around.
You'll have A, B, C, and D, and then you'll have a semifinal and a final.
Right.
A main event or whatever the case may be for each night. And then from that point,
right,
the semifinal and the main event will be different blocks.
So, Jason, you called when we said last week, who do you think's going to win this year's G1? You said Jeff Cobb. Okada is in the same block as Jeff Cobb.
Yeah.
I'm not asking you, Zach. Who do you think's going to win this block?
Oh, this block.
It's basically
I think
between
the
Jeff
block-
Cobb, Okada. I guess you could say Tom Lawler because I know you're a Mark.
Nah, I mean, I like him, but he's not going to win the block.
No.
I think, really, I think it's a situation where, like, Okada loses once and then does, like, a draw, and Cobb only loses once. Something like that. Where, like, yeah.
Let this motherfucker book the block. Okay, Jason, who do you have winning this?
I've called this the block of death in this scenario where if you're Okada, you're looking around, you got Jonah, you have Jeff Cobb, you got Lance Archer.
Yano.
Yano can steal a dub from him.
Yeah,
at
but there's
some
only
point.
two guys that can win this block. It's either
Okada or Jeff Cobb.
Right. So who you taking?
I'm going to still stick to my guns. I'm going to take Jeff Cobb because obviously Okada is going to be at the Forbidden Door. I'm going to take Jeff Cobb. I just can't. I can't.
I'm going to take Okada because of Okada's razor, which is take the simplest answer. Get it? Like, Zach got it. Okay, so the B block, we have Taichi, Tama Tonga, who we haven't got to talk to Zach about, but he's been looking pretty good solo. Tomohiro Ishii, Jay White, Sonata, Great O'Khan, and Chase Owens. I'll go first. Looking at this, I think that there are legit 4 guys that could come out of this. I think that they're not equally possible to come out of this. Like, I think Jay White comes out of this, but I could see Taichi making it to a semifinal. I could see Jay White making it to a semifinal, of course. I can always see Sonata making it to a semifinal. He's kind of like New Japan's Kane. Like, he keeps winning and winning and winning, even though he's super boring. And I can see them putting Great O'Khan in the Final Four. What do you think, Jason?
Wow. I'll just make this simple. This is Jay White's block to lose. I like Taichi. I just think it's probably just too much.
Yeah, I'd put him at like 50% to win.
I think it's more than that.
Okay. All right.
I really think it's his block to lose. Okay. Especially now being the champion as it stands right now. So I'm looking at him being the champion.
Let's make a bet where you bet me and I'll take the field.
I'll take Jay White, and you can have the field for this B block if you want to go that route.
Yeah, $10.
$10.
All right.
Okay, so obviously I got Jay White in the B block. You better win, motherfucker.
I'm gonna.
Great O'Khan might be a nice little curveball. Ishii, obviously, we talked about him. You know, I think this is part of the reason why he's not going to Chicago, to have him ready for the G1.
I could see Tama Tonga
Now, I would
beating him as like Bullet Club retribution.
Okay, but if you have Tama Tonga beating Jay White, then Jay White is probably going to have to defend the title against Tama Tonga. Not saying it's a bad thing. It's just this is how New Japan books.
Jason, Zach, who you got?
Yeah, I agree with Jason. It's definitely Jay White's to lose. But I do like that idea of Tama Tonga beating him for his, like, one loss. That's a good idea.
All the guys that Jay White has kind of done dirty have been are in his block.
Now, you know what fucked me up the other night when these blocks got announced is that, Jason, you said that the A block was the...
It's the block of death.
Okay. And I can't believe that you would say that about the A block when there's only 2 guys that could win, Okada and Cobb.
Well, I guess
and
the block
C
of death
block,
for Okada, better choice of words.
Listen to the C block, okay?
I got it written down, dude.
Evil could always win. Probably not going to, but could always win.
But he's going.
Aaron Hanare is not going to win, but I root for him. I think he's cool. Naito could always win. Tanahashi could always win. Hiroki Goto can't win, but he's
gonna
there.
have some good matches.
Zack Sabre Jr. and Kenta. Now that's the block of death.
I guess I should have said the block of death for Okada is the A block. Now the C block, obviously, much bigger names with Tanahashi, Naito, Zack Sabre Jr.
Kenta.
I was going to say Kenta. Okay, that's the fourth guy in the mix. As much as I want to pick Naito, because that's my dog.
Who gets the win, Hanare or Goto, over each other?
If it was me, I would go with Hanare. It would be. It feels like, especially watching the undercard matches, that they're building Hanare up. He's got a new finisher, submission finisher, full Nelson type shit.
Cool thing about this is that Hanare's going to get a strange win in here somewhere.
He's going to be somebody he's probably not. Goto's probably that guy.
Yep.
If you're making me pick who's going to win the C block, I'm going to pick Tanahashi.
I'll take Zack Sabre Jr. Who you got, Zach Pullman Sr.?
Yeah, C is really awesome because there's legit 4, maybe 5 guys that could win, but like legit 4 for sure.
Plus some match of the year candidates too, man.
Yeah, it'll be good. I'm gonna pick Zack Sabre Jr. also.
Oh,
Tanahashi Naito is the example that I was trying to talk about earlier. They haven't wrestled in a while, and then when they wrestle in the C block, it's gonna feel special because we haven't seen it in a while.
Awesome.
but last time we saw Kenta, Zack Sabre Jr., like they were mad at each other.
The last time we saw Kenta and Tanahashi, Kenta was not even walking out. They were carrying him out with a fucking broken hip.
Kenta makes everybody mad.
Dude, it's game on.
Yes.
C block is going to be crazy.
Excited about that. And the D block is El Phantasmo, David Finlay, Yoshihashi, Will Ospreay, Shingo, Juice Robinson, and Yujiro. So, there's really only 2 guys that can win this.
Agreed.
Ospreay and Shingo, right?
Agreed.
Okay, so who you got?
I took Tanahashi in the C, so obviously I'm going to take Will Ospreay in the D. Will Ospreay, Juice Robinson are going to have a little talk about the U.S. title that Juice Robinson is holding captive. I'm looking forward to ELP in this New Japan G1. Obviously, he's coming up. Him and David Finlay, for that matter, kind of coming up from being junior heavies to the heavyweight division. That should be interesting. From there, it's like you said, it's really 2 guys. It's Will Ospreay versus Shingo. You can flip a coin. I wouldn't be mad either way, but in this scenario, I'm going to take Ospreay because I took Tanahashi in the C block.
I'm taking Ospreay also just because I feel like it's his time. What do you think, Zach?
Yeah, I am very, very, very excited for another Ospreay Shingo match. I mean, I think that was like match of the year 2, maybe 3 years in a row. They're always awesome.
I think it was last
2
year.
years in a row. Yeah,
It was last year when Shingo was champ and Ospreay.
He beat him for championship.
Yeah.
Jesus
and there was
Christ.
the finals of the BOSJ.
That's
the
what
year
I'm
before
thinking
that.
of.
Yeah. But they also had another match in there, too, and it was phenomenal. So that's going to be, like, maybe match of the tournament. I'm going to call that my match of the tournament early pick. But I think I'm going to go with Ospreay just because, you know, Shingo is great. I love Shingo so much. But, you know, he's already been on top for a while, and Ospreay's on his way to that. You know, Ospreay's on his way to being that Jay White. You know, Ospreay, we all know him as one of the greatest wrestlers in the world, but he's going to make his mark as champion in, you know, the next couple of years. Going to happen.
So, in our text message thread, when the G1s got announced, I said no real surprises, and Jason said no real surprises, 5 question marks in a row. What were you saying? Like
5 question marks in a row.
who is the big surprise here? Who are you surprised to see? Jonah?
No, Tom Lawler, I think, is a huge surprise. I mean,
Okay, but when I said surprise, I thought that we were talking about Cesaro, Daniel Bryan, you know.
Okay, but I was
somebody from
Finley,
the American side. No,
ELP.
not David
Okay,
Finley.
this
No,
is what
I'm
I
not
was
just
saying.
talking about Gaijin. I'm talking about fucking AEW guys. But basically what I'm talking about.
Real deal work rate guys.
Lance Archer. But Lance Archer has already been there. Listen,
Yeah,
Moxley was there a couple years ago, and that fucking ruled, and I would have been so psyched if Moxley would have gone in here again. I understand it's a long-ass time to be in Japan. I was just expecting one AEW guy that we could be, like Miro or fucking somebody like that. Like, go into New Japan and let's see what you can do for 10 matches, like what Utah did in BOSJ.
Okay, well, I think kind of the problem with this is that the Forbidden Door is the pay-per-view is kind of not allowing you to build towards a G1.
No.
Why not?
Well, I mean, Zach said something earlier where the Mexican guys aren't allowed to fight in it. But
no, it's certain Mexicans. It's
where the fuck is Buddy Matthews? Like, that's basically the guy.
I actually heard he's injured too.
Huh?
I think I heard that he is injured too. I'm not even joking.
All right. Well, Buddy Matthews, Cesaro, somebody like that. That's
Pac is there. Oh, okay.
No. In the
G1.
In the G1. Really, like anybody, just to spice it up. They added 8 more guys, and all they did was add. No offense. They kept in They kept in Yujiro. They kept in Yoshihashi. They added Tom Lawler. They added David Finlay. All guys that can go. Of course, I love them all. But they added 8 guys, and they didn't. There was no real splash made. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but you guys act like this is 2016. The world ain't like that. Where now you can have anybody and everybody come over, go back and forth.
No, it's even more open than it was.
No, it's not.
Yeah, because AEW exists, and
we were just talking about Japan
and they have a working relationship
because of
with
COVID.
New Japan, and they have a working relationship with New Japan. So if Okada comes over here, you're telling me fucking.
Clearly, you just don't remember last week. So let's quite a
Not the last hour. I don't remember.
So we were talking about the fact of
you guys
whether
keep telling me jokes that killed. So now you're going to tell me
so sorry.
Sounds
No,
impossible.
we're just going to have to talk real for 30 seconds.
Right.
We were talking about the fact of whether Okada would be able to come over here or not, because obviously he has a kid on the way, and Japan might be closing its borders because of this latest COVID outbreak. Okay. So if you're, I don't know, Daniel Bryanson, we all want him to go to the G1. All of us want him to go to the G1. Mm-hmm. But if you're going to say there is a possibility, if you go over, you might not be able to come back, or Okada in the same way, that's a moment for cause to cause.
No, you can always go back to the U.S. It's Japan that doesn't let people in. U.S. lets everybody in. They don't give a fuck.
They will gladly let you leave.
Yeah. Yes, that's not the point. Do you want me to erase that part?
No, not at all.
You want me to cut it out?
No.
That's Bill saying you are so wrong. He's giving you the opportunity.
No, I don't.
Strike it from the record.
No, I'm not going to strike it from the record because I think that's something to be accounted for.
Listen, here is a list of politicians that I want killed right now, just assassinated, and then we'll just cut the whole thing. No, come on, man. All right, so
I'm dead.
Who do we think is going to win the whole thing?
My early money's on Ospreay.
I agree.
All right, I'll take Zack Sabre Jr. That's going to do it. Oh, wait. You have a couple matches that you watch from New Japan before we get into the predictions. And listen, everybody's just been waiting for some WWE stuff.
We did that. We
have birthdays coming up.
Good.
Only 5 of them. One of them was Mark Jindrak.
Oh, Jesus. Never mind. Two matches I want to talk about from New Japan really quick. First match being the IWGP Junior Tag Team Championships did change hands. You had Francisco Akira and TJP defeating Taguchi and Master Wato. I wasn't a big fan of Taguchi and Master Wato being champions. I was kind of hoping that this was going to be the result of this match. It feels like TJP is going to stay for a little bit. It feels like Francisco Akira is going to stay for a little bit. I think both are going to be at least bigger additions to the junior heavyweight division, but the biggest addition came the following night when you had Hiromu versus Taiji Ishimori for the junior heavyweight singles championship. Obviously, Hiromu winning the BSOJ for the third time in a row, fourth time overall. History maker versus Taiji Ishimori, the current champion. Ishimori goes over clean, which was a kind of a surprise, but it was a really good match. Ishimori works the shoulder like it's nobody's business. God damn, that's one guy that I wish would come over to the Forbidden Door, and it's not coming over, but neither here nor there. Post-match, however, as Ishimori is taking his victory lap, Kushida comes out to return to New Japan, says he's back to stay. He's ready to come back and wrestle for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. So it looks like somewhere down the line, we're going to get the returning Kushida challenging for the title against Taiji Ishimori, which should be a really fucking good match. I'll say this. I didn't have a problem with Kushida coming over. I get it. You got to try to, break this glass ceiling in certain aspects in life. In WWE is probably a little bit of more of a cement ceiling, neither here nor there. He went over, he tried it, he's now back, and I think now that he's back, that the junior heavyweight division, singles-wise, is just gotten a little more deeper. I said it was three-headed monster last week. It's now a fourth head with Kushida coming back and being a part of things. Two Beer, go ahead.
Oh yeah, totally. This is good for the junior heavyweight division. You get that fourth person in the mix. You have those top four guys. Yeah, and Ishimori going over also kind of makes sense, especially if you want to save Hiromu Kushida for the Dome, because that sounds like a Dome match to me.
Yeah, it does to me too. I just hope that this Forbidden Door thing takes off in the U.S. because I want people to watch New Japan. It's a different rhythm. I feel like I'm always on their commercial, but it's a different rhythm, and it rules. So
honestly, if the New Japan, if this goes the way I think it should, either you're going to like it or you don't. If AEW and New Japan feel like they're very similar in wrestling style, so I think AEW watchers that never seen New Japan, I think are going to like it because they're pretty similar in style. How they tell stories are different, but I think ultimately, like that 6-man tag on Dynamite with Orange Cassidy and Roppongi Vice versus the United Empire, I think that's kind of what you're going to see on Sunday night, is my guess.
All right. That'll do for our 3 count.
1, 2, 3.
All right, everybody, we got some predictions to make. Now, unlike usual, I have made all my predictions beforehand. I will not be making them up on the spot. I thought about them while I was sober.
Look at you.
Dealing with my child who is not doing well. I mean, you heard what Zach said earlier. Like,
Zach should be ashamed of yourself. Shame.
No, I mean he's just being real. So, we're gonna
dead kids are good. That's what's being real.
I don't think that's what he was saying. He wasn't saying they're good. Okay, so let's talk about.
They just said that they weren't resilient.
They were. Zach, have you watched The Northman yet?
No, I saw it on streaming though, so I'm gonna catch it.
If you have Peacock, I recommend ripping a bowl and giving yourself 2 hours to watch that movie, because that movie, you're just gonna sit there and just mutter "dudes rock" until they put you in a fucking straitjacket. It has some of the best fight scenes, or killing scenes, I should say. Okay, so here we go. So the buy-in is Max Caster and the Gun Club versus the NJPW Dojo, Kevin Knight and the DKC and Alex Coughlin and Yuya Uemura. What do you say, Zach? Let's not spend too much time on this shit either.
No, Gun Club.
All right, Zach's taking the Gun Club. Who you got, Jason?
Well, since we can't break this down like I want to.
I mean, you can break it down. You can break it down. I'm just saying, just be mindful of the time.
There's nothing to break down. It's Gun Club should win.
Okay, I took the dojo because if you're selling a pay-per-view, like, why would you have the most hateable fucking pieces of shit, fucking blonde ass?
Clearly you don't watch New Japan Strong, but go ahead.
All right, coming up next, we have the Eddie Kingston team, which is Eddie Kingston, Shota Umino, and Wheeler Yuta versus Chris Jericho, Sammy Guevara, and Minoru Suzuki.
Whoa. This is a pre-show match?
No, we're into the show now.
Okay.
There was only one pre-show match.
Okay.
Sorry.
I'm like, what the fuck?
You got that last fireball?
Yeah.
So who you got?
I guess. God damn, it's Jericho. It's all Jericho. I can't wait to sing Minoru Suzuki's theme song again. But yeah, I'll take the heels on this one.
You guys drinking fireballs? You guys got brain scans later?
hey, split that motherfucker with me.
Okay. All right, who you got, Zach?
Give me Kingston. I feel like he's taking a lot of L's to Jericho, and he needs some retribution here.
So Zach is taking the baby faces.
Who you got? No, who you got?
Oh, I took Suzuki.
Okay.
I'm taking Suzuki.
Okay. I was about to say, I know you've written them down, but you got at least for the record.
No, you're right. I just don't see Kingston as a babyface winning at this event. If he's going to get his retribution, he's going to get his retribution at an AEW thing. Like, it could even be a Dynamite. Okay, so we have Sting and...
Dudes with attitudes.
And those dorks. This is not on the one that I have. So it's Sting, Darby Allin...
Shingo and Hiromu Takahashi.
Now that is... I mean, that is two of the most exciting New Japan wrestlers that they have.
This sounds like this is going to be
Sting and Darby Allin.
Stop hating, dog. Let them men live. Let them men live.
It's like a dad with a dying kid being like, oh, my kid's, he can't talk, but his dying wish is to have a pay-per-view with Sting and Darby Allin.
Wow. You ain't shit, dude. God damn.
Or no, I'm sorry, with Hiromu. I fucked up the joke.
Yeah.
All right,
that's what you get.
Who are you taking?
Yeah.
Who are you taking?
Go ahead, Two Beer.
I feel like it's the Bucks and Bullet Club. I'm trying to think who. I guess maybe they would pin Darby Allin. Maybe Hiromu. I don't know. We'll see. But Bucks and Bullet Club. Even though Tony Khan loves Sting, I just feel like...
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
I took the dudes with attitudes.
I was going to say, I'm kind of lean that way a little bit. Hikuleo is on that team.
He could easily take a loss.
Yeah, I'm going to take Sting and Darby Allin.
No, call them by what they're called.
Dudes with attitudes.
Say it. Say it like I said it.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
Say it like I said it, please.
Niggas with attitudes should win this match.
Whoa. All right, coming up next. Now I need you to say this from least to most.
Least to most.
We have Roppongi Vice versus Khan on the Cob versus FTR.
Winner takes all. IWGP and the ROH tag team.
IWGP tag titles and ROH tag titles
are on the line. I don't know. I guess we're going to have a clean winner here because it's winner take all. So we'll go with least likely to win. I'm going to go with Roppongi Vice. I just don't see them having a clear avenue to either promotion, whether it's New Japan or AEW. The middle, I'm kind of torn. I really like the United Empire team, but I'm going to take them as number 2, and I'm going to take FTR as the most likely to win. It's more opportunities.
Zach,
it's a
you're
bigger
up.
Stage.
I picked the same.
The exact same.
Yep.
Roppongi Vice least, Khan on the Cobb second, FTR most. Okay, I got Roppongi Vice as least. I got FTR second. I have Khan on the Cobb coming in first. Okay, so now we have Zack Sabre Jr.
versus mystery guest. Okay, so then
first of all,
who's the mystery guest?
I want to hear you say who the mystery guest is, and then I want you to say who wins. Now, listen, if you take the mystery guest, it doesn't matter who the mystery guest is. You're just picking Zack Sabre Jr. to lose. Well, for example, I'll go first. Okay. I don't know who the mystery guest is.
Okay.
But I am taking Zack Sabre Jr. to lose.
No matter who it is.
Yep, I put the question mark in there.
Okay, I'll go next. I'll answer both questions. I was having this conversation earlier today, and I didn't come up with this person when I first saw Dynamite last night, but then somebody threw this out there, and I was like, it makes total fucking sense. I'm going to go John. Dude, that would be fucking amazing. I'm going to go Jonathan Gresham as the question mark. He's under contract with ROH or AEW, whatever you want to call it. He can do the ZSJ match in the technical style. The Blood and Guts match, I've seen him do with Chris Brooks over in
that's who it is.
Over in England when they were in Progress. So I'm gonna go Jonathan Gresham as the mystery opponent, and then I'm going to agree with Bill on this one. I'm going to double down, and I'm going to take Jonathan Gresham to win the match.
I mean, you can come up with that? I mean, that's really good. No. Like, now I think, okay, it's Jonathan.
I said Cesaro first, Gresham second,
what do you think,
Johnny
Zach?
Gargano third.
Yeah, I actually think it's Gresham, too. I saw somebody say that on Twitter, and it just makes sense. Like, it makes way more sense than...
It makes a lot of fucking sense.
Yeah.
And I will actually pick CSJ to win, though.
Woo! I love it.
That.
I love it.
Like, now, I had not heard that, and now that you say it, it's like, of course, he's like this compact fucking super wrestler, like amateur wrestler dude that's very technical. Very frustrating. But that being said, I do want to see John Gresham versus
Zack Sabre Jr. Yeah, yes, that would be. I think that would be a good match.
Yes.
I think Cesaro and ZSJ would be a good match. Either one would be good. Johnny Gargano versus ZSJ would be a good match.
Yeah, of course. It's not going to be Johnny Gargano.
If you made me choose, I'm going with Jonathan Gresham.
If you guys see Johnny Gargano's Twitter,
negative.
He has an autograph signing in Chicago that same weekend that he said has been booked for 8 months, and he's like, I'm saying this knowing that no one's going to believe me. This has been booked for 8 months.
You hear me over here like, yeah, motherfucker. It just so happens 8 months ago.
We got Tony Storm versus Thunder Rosa. Zach, you're first.
I'm going with my heart. Give me Tony Storm.
Jason, you're next.
I'm going with my head. I'm going to take Thunder Rosa.
Unbelievable. I'm taking Tony Storm. You're fucking crazy. I think that's... Write down, people. That's the worst pick of the week.
What the fuck?
All right.
God damn. I picked the champion.
Up next.
And it's like the worst pick of the week. Okay.
Up next, we have Will Ospreay versus Orange Cassidy. Jason, you go first.
Well, shit, since I picked the worst, I had the worst pick.
I mean, you better make up for it.
I'm doubling down on this one.
Taking Orange Cassidy?
Hell no, I'm taking Will Ospreay,
okay.
baby.
All right, you motherfucker. You got me fucking dying over here. Zach, who you got?
Ospreay.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I want to see what these two guys can do together.
I think this would be a good match. Obviously, this is the Andrade spot, and Orange Cassidy's in the spot. I would love to see Andrade versus Will Ospreay, but this is the next best thing.
Only 3 matches left. We'll go for the All-Atlantic match first, which is a 4-way. So I need you to tell me from least to most. We have Pac, Miro, Malachi Black, and Clark Connors.
I think we can all put Clark Connors as least most.
I mean, I had Ishii in that spot too, though.
Whatever.
But Zach, I assume you're putting Clark Connors as the least, right?
Yep.
Okay, so who's your second to least, third to least?
Second to least is gonna be, or third to least. Sorry. Yeah, third to least. I'm gonna go Malachi Black. Second to least Miro, and I'm taking Pac to win it.
Jason.
Clark Connors obviously least likely to win it. Man, wow. I'm gonna go Miro as third. I think he should be in the main event, so I think he's there to be there. I'm gonna go Malachi Black second likely to win it, and I agree with Chubir on this one. I think Pac is long deserving of a singles title in some form or fashion. I think this is where he gets it, so I'm gonna take Pac to most likely to win.
I'm not mad at those picks at all. Everybody's got something different.
Who you got, motherfucker?
I got Ishii as last, so Clark Connors last. It would have been Ishii last anyway, though.
Agreed.
I got Malachi Black third. I got Pac second, and I would be shocked if Miro doesn't win this. In fact, I'll call this my lead pipe lock of the week.
I can't wait till this shit goes south.
I know, it's going to be so bad. Clark Connors is going to win and have a 600 day. Okay.
Clark Connors, my boy.
Moxley and Tanahashi. I'll let you go first, Jason.
I think this is pretty much a lock, my lock of the week, and it shouldn't even be a lock. It's AEW. It's Moxley. It's going to be good to see Tanahashi on American soil, so I can check that off of my wrestling wish list of things to do before you bury me in the grave or burn me up. I haven't decided yet. Either way, I think this Moxley is going to win, so you get Moxley versus Punk somewhere down the line.
Zach, you're up.
Yep, Moxley wins. Even in the spot of the CM Punk, Tanahashi was there to be the highest profile, best main eventer that could lose and not get hurt because he's an absolute legend. So
He's not heating up.
it's Mox. I'm done. I cooled off.
He's not heating up.
I was trying to go with the beat.
Okay.
I totally agree with both you guys. Jason can see my pick. I picked Moxley also. So now we have the main event, which is a fatal four-way. Well, is it a fatal four-way?
It's not a fatal four-way. I'm assuming if it's a it's first person that
elimination.
No, it's first person.
Well,
that
that's
gets
that's a fatal
four-way.
Okay. So whoever gets the pin here. So we have Adam Cole,
baby,
Adam Page, Okada, and Jay White. So from least to most, Zach, please go first.
I was sure thinking you were going to have me go first.
No, I'm going to have Zach go first. All right. Least likely, Adam Cole, baby. Third least, Okada. Number 2, Adam Page. Number 1, Jay White.
I love it. I'll go next. I have Adam Cole,
baby.
As 4, I have Adam Page. 3, I have Okada. 2, and I have Jay White as being 1 and retaining. Jason.
You can mark me down exactly for what you just said. I can't see the IWGP Championships changing hands on American soil in this scenario. I know people are going to say, oh, Jay White lost to Okada in Madison Square Garden. It wasn't a fatal four-way. It was a straight-up one-on-one. I don't have a problem with that. Now, in this scenario, somebody has to take the pin. Adam Cole feels like it's the, and I hate to even say this because I've seen a lot of people running down Adam Cole in his AEW run versus his NXT run, and I get it. It's not the same thing, but somebody's got to take the pin. Adam Cole is probably the one guy that could probably do it and still maintain his status moving forward. So, yeah, I agree with you.
So, the three of us have been doing podcasts for a long time. What's the number?
262.
262. So, I'm going to ask you because none of us are watching this together. Zach, where are you watching the pay-per-view?
So I think I'll be watching at home. We're camping this weekend, so I think I'll be back in time to sit in front of my TV and watch it.
They ain't gonna be back in time.
So, Tinder Mahal reached out to me today. He was like, "Come on over."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Man, I got 2 things to do during Sunday. Like,
Sick baby.
I got a sick baby. I think I'm gonna have to buy it at home or watch it the next day, pirate it for free."
Obviously,
And just try to avoid spoilers. I guess don't look at Facebook or
yeah,
Twitter.
that's really say that's easy to do. I mean,
Jason, where are you gonna watch it?
well, kudos to High Five Tom and making sure I'm living my best wrestling life. I will be in Chicago. I'll leave Sunday morning early. I want to try to get there about noon, and then hang out with the
how
boys.
early? You're leaving at 6:00 a.m.
Probably feed the cats and then dip up out of there. I'm just excited to see how this is going to all unfold because as an AEW mark number 1 and a New Japan mark number 1, AEW number 2, you're going to have my 2 favorite promotions in one fell swoop for about 4 or 5 hours. So I'm really curious to see the booking on how things go because if it's all AEW, people aren't going to like it. If it's all New Japan, people aren't going to like it. So it's got to be some more of a nice little blend of a lot of shit that makes sense. So I'm curious to see how that works out. The wrestling, I'm not even worried about. The booking, I'm kind of curious to see how.
Boys, we talked about a lot of wrestling tonight. We just shoved a lot of wrestling
down your throat.
Fucking, we didn't start the fire podcasting. You know what I'm talking about?
From Ringside.
We got some birthdays this week. Not very many, though. We got Billie Kay. You remember her?
Yes. As a matter of fact, part of the inspiration, part of the whoever they were in the WWE. I can't even think of who there was. Who they were in the WWE? What was their tag team name in WWE?
They were called, I can't even remember. Zach, are you still there?
Yeah, comics.
Yes.
There we go. Thank you.
See, Connor?
He's got that young brain, He's not like a...
Dude, no, fuck that. He does as much
J.J.
drug
Dillon.
as I do.
J.J. Dillon.
I got that horny brain. I got to remember the exact keyword.
Billie Kay reminds me of my wife's
7
friend
months
that
ago
had
when I was late for work.
no chest. Sorry, 2 jokes at the same time. Sorry, Zach. I didn't mean to share your joke. J.J. Dillon.
On my Mount Rushmore of all-time wrestler or all-time managers.
R.I.P.
R.I.P.
He would have been
Did you,
80.
did you say that he has like a name like your mom's perfume?
Jesus Christ.
Mark Jindrak. Happy birthday. He would have been 45 this year. I'm pretty sure he's dead.
Dude, come on, man. How you not going to know?
Well,
see, that's the fucked up part about it. You put me on Front Street, be like, you look at me like, what, is he alive or dead?
I do a lot. Oh, he's still alive. No,
See?
born in 77. No, he's 45. Oh, he looks huge. Looks like Homelander.
Wow.
Matt Stryker, who I always enjoyed.
Great commentator.
Great commentator. Matt Stryker is 48. And Heidenreich, who I always got mixed up with Tyson Tomko, and I still can't keep them apart.
Oh, my God.
Which one's the one that raped Michael Cole?
Heidenreich?
Yeah, that's Heidenreich. Yeah, that's right. Okay, cool.
Jesus Christ. Hit the music.
Hey, everybody. I know those are tons of podcasts to listen to, so we appreciate you guys listening to our podcast. For Two Beers, Zach Bowman,
Check.
For Murray the Murray Man Murray, for
Check.
Patriot Pat, for
Check.
Sideways in Time podcast,
Double
for
check.
Vice,
Check.
for Tinder Mahal. Who am I forgetting?
Your sick
For my
daughter.
Sick daughter. Eduardo, Edna.
She's going to make it through.
I hope she's good.
For you.
For Jason Cornelius Bell.
For me.
I'm Bill Vagey.
Check.
Support your local weed
Check, check,
deals.
check.
Support your local restaurants and boo the heels.